Hello! Chances are if you clicked on this video, you probably have acne and you probably hate it with every ounce of your being, just like I do. A little bit about me, my name is Julia. I'm 28 years old and I have been living with acne for 10 years, a full decade, and it's crazy to say that out loud, and I honestly can't believe that I have lived with acne for such a big portion of my life. The reason I'm making this video is because I recently started Accutane treatment. I'm currently on day 13. I wanted to make these daily skin vlogs while I undergo treatment, partly for myself to be able to see the progression of my skin, and hopefully when I have clear skin by the end of treatment to be able to look back at the beginning and see how far my skin has come and to, you know, reap in the full gratitude of having clear skin finally. But another part of why I wanted to make these videos is because when I was researching about Accutane prior to starting treatment, I watched a lot of these Accutane videos of people talking about their experiences and daily skin vlogs, specifically Katie Snooks, who did their daily skin vlogs like ages ago, but I really enjoyed watching her journey, and it really helped me feel, I guess, less alone, as cliche as that sounds, and it really helped to quell my fears around Accutane as a medication, and it helped quell my anxieties around the possible side effects that would come with the treatment. So I guess this is kind of my way of giving back to the acne community, kind of contributing to that sentiment that anyone out there who has acne and has suffered from it for a long time, you're not alone. And you know, we all kind of suffer from those ideas of, you know, thinking that we're not beautiful because our skin is not clear. It's easier said than done to like believe that we're beautiful beneath our skin, but it's really hard to put those words into action when, you know, like every day when you look in the mirror, all you see is just like all the spots and pimples. You know, it's hard, and it really does take a toll on your confidence and your self-esteem. And for me, having suffered from acne for such a long time, 10 years, it has really shaped the way I look at myself, and I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it. I feel like for the past 10 years, acne has really like taken over my life, and it feels like everything I do like revolves around my skin, and like revolves around like trying to achieve that, you know, glass skin, the model skin. And you know, there are some days where I'm like, you know, acne doesn't matter, it is what it is. And some days I do feel confident in who I am, and like the acne doesn't bother me. But you know, most days, the second I wake up, I'm already thinking about like, what does my skin look like today? And I spend like the first 5 to 10 minutes of my morning just like examining my skin and, you know, looking if I have any new spots. And before I went on Accutane, I had like a really intensive like skincare regimen that I was really diligent about, and like I won't even start on all of the money that I have poured into facials and products and treatments throughout the years. Acne has really taken a hold of my life, and I guess I've just kind of gotten to the point where I'm really fed up with it controlling my life and controlling the way I look at myself. I took a leap of faith and decided to finally go on Accutane after 10 years of going back and forth. Anyone considering Accutane should always do your proper research beforehand and not only physically prepare yourself for the side effects, but really mentally prepare yourself for the worst. Because in my mind, it's always best to prepare for the worst and be pleasantly surprised that it doesn't get that bad, rather than think that it's not going to be that bad and it get really, really terrible. I decided to start making these daily skin vlogs because the past few days the purging has really taken a hold of my skin, as you can probably tell by looking at my face. So like I said before, I'm currently on day 13. I didn't record on my camera of my skin during the first 13 days, but I will insert a few clips from my phone just so you can kind of see the progression of day 0 to day 13. My dermatologist started me on 40 milligrams. She plans to slowly ramp me up to 60 milligrams and eventually 80 milligrams if my body can handle it. And she estimated that my treatment should be going for about 7 to 8 months. Obviously that is subject to change depending on how well my body takes in the medication. So for the first few days of taking the medication, I noticed my skin was getting really, really greasy, and I think it's because my pores were starting to push out all of the existing oils that were sitting in my pores, because that's kind of the way that the medication works. It's like restructuring your oil glands. At first, my skin was getting really greasy, but it felt really dehydrated. I had a little bit of dry lips. I don't have any chapped lips yet, but I know that it's gonna come eventually. I did notice that my hair is significantly less greasy. Usually my hair gets pretty oily around day 2 after a shower, and I have to shower like every other day at least. But I haven't washed my hair in maybe like 3-4 days, and it still looks pretty clean and solid. Once the initial greasiness subsided, then my skin started getting pretty flaky from the dryness, particularly around my nose. Once the purging started, I wasn't getting any kind of cystic breakouts, luckily, but they would come to a head pretty quickly and they dry out really fast. Like if you were to run your finger across my spots right now, it would feel really dry and like scabby almost. It's those types of dry patches that are really hard to resist from picking, but I'm trying to do my best not to pick any of my spots or dry patches while I'm on the treatment, because my skin does scar very, very easily, as you can kind of see from my cheeks. Like this is like years and years of scarring. I also get a lot of rosacea on my cheeks. You can kind of see the difference from the skin on my arm from the skin on my face. My face is much more red than the rest of my body. The rest of my body is like pretty yellow toned, I would say. My face is red like a tomato constantly. I did get one small eczema patch on my arm around maybe like the 1 week marker, but I just cleaned it and put moisturizer on and it went away pretty quickly within a day or two. But I foresee quite a few eczema patches in my future. Once we move into week 2, the dryness is still continuing, much more flakiness. I have a lot of dryness around my nose, and I will zoom you in, I guess, to look at my face. So this is kind of what my skin is looking like on day 13. This side of my face is actually still pretty okay. I have this random pimple popping up in my sideburn area, and this is kind of a dry patch that's still healing. My chin is definitely my problem area right now. Obviously, you can see that they're like scabbing over, but there's still stuff going on underneath, which is really annoying. There's another spot here, and I have another spot here that's kind of healing now. If you look at the sides of my nose, I have a lot of sebaceous filaments on my nose. You can see how textured it is. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but I have a lot of sebaceous filaments on the sides of my nose. I've noticed as my skin is drying up, the sebaceous filaments are kind of getting pushed out naturally, which is nice. I'm hoping that those also resolve themselves while I'm on treatment, because they're really annoying to deal with from day to day. My forehead is still pretty clear aside from some flakiness right here, although I did notice a tiny little spot forming underneath my eyebrow right here, which I know is going to be super fun to deal with. Generally, my forehead resolves pretty quickly when it comes to spots. Please ignore my sweaty armpits. It's really hot today. Generally speaking, I feel like my acne is pretty all over the place. My biggest issues acne-wise were usually under the skin, like big cystic breakouts. I used to get a lot around my cheeks, on the sides of my cheeks here. I don't get them as often as I used to. Now I get a lot more whiteheads, blackheads, and these weird tiny like clogged pores that are under the skin, which are really annoying, and they never go away on their own. Now that I'm a little bit older, my acne has been localizing more around my mouth and like the center of my face rather than the sides of my cheeks. I feel like when I was younger, most of my acne was on the sides of my face, and when I was younger, I didn't have any chin acne. Like my chin and my forehead and my nose were always clear, like my general T-zone were always really clear. It was always just like my cheeks that were problems. But now that I'm older, it's weird that my cheeks are kind of, I don't know, I guess they don't have any more pimples to push out, and now they've all kind of migrated towards the center of my face, which is worse in my opinion, because like you can't avoid it. And like if I'm talking to someone, I'm always really self-conscious because like they can't not look at the acne that is in the center of my face. Now that I'm on Accutane and I'm purging, the acne that I'm getting is like much different than what I'm used to. It's all in the areas, in the same areas that I usually break out, but these like dry whiteheads that like scab over really quickly is not something I'm used to. I usually have those under the skin lumps that like never come to a head. It simultaneously feels cool but also disgusting because it's on my face and it looks like I just have a bunch of scabs on my face. I'm doing my best not to pick at them, and I'm doing my best to let them heal and go through their life cycle on their own. I remember a previous esthetician of mine told me that acne takes about 90 days to form and come to a head, which makes sense with the general Accutane timeline, where most people say that the purging lasts for about 3 months, aka 90 days, before their skin starts getting really clear. Although the Accutane purge is the thing that I was dreading the most about going on medication, and it was actually the thing that was preventing me from going on the medication for a really, really long time in the past. I'm kind of just taking it day by day and taking it in stride, because I am just reminding myself that this is my body's way of getting rid of all the bad stuff so that the clear skin can move in and take place of all of the icky skin. You know, reminding myself that the ends will justify the means and that this is all a part of the process. And it's another reason why I want to make these daily skin vlogs, just so I can remind myself of, you know, all of the hard stuff that I've gone through, and remind myself that I am really strong, and remind myself that I should be proud of myself for taking this step to go on medication to achieve clear skin. Because to be honest, I feel like having acne has really held me back in a lot of ways. Or rather, I guess I let myself be held back by acne because I'm so self-conscious, and it's such a damper to my confidence that it really prevents me from, you know, going out in the world and meeting new people and trying new things, because I'm just so self-conscious about my skin, even though I try not to let other people know that it bothers me. If you're, you know, thinking about going on Accutane, or if you are just suffering from acne, I'm right there with you. I know the struggles, and I know how hard it is to have this thing on your face, you know, control the way that you feel and think about yourself. And I hope my future vlogs will be helpful for anybody considering going on Accutane. Obviously, it's only day 13, and 7 months feels like a really long time to wait for clear skin, and it feels like a really long time to be on this medication. You know, I've lived with it for 10 years at this point. What's another 7 months until I can get the skin that I want and that I deserve? Because I think I've worked very hard to, I think I've worked very hard up until this point to have clear skin, and I think I deserve it. So fingers crossed, send your prayers, send your good thoughts, because it's only day 13 and it's already kind of rough. I'm hoping my side effects don't get any more severe than they are now. I hope the purging doesn't get worse than it is now, but I think it might get a little bit worse. So I'm hoping for the best. Wish me luck.